Hello guys, welcome to CS Tech Solution. Today's is learn as a data analytics. Today's is learn as a part 9 is a metadata and as a documentation. A metadata and as a documentation is help us to understand, organize and as a manage the data properly and they is make it easiest for as terms to as use the data as correctly and as maintain it as over the times. And first is a metadata. Metadata is a data about the data, and it describes the information about the data such as its names, type, size, creators and the creations date. And the metadata is the information that describe the others data. And the example as suppose you have a file and the student data's .xlsx and is the metadata may be as this the details are as called as a metadata, and the properties and the values has to give, and the file name is student datas, and as a create by as a Rahul, and the create the date as a date is to give, and the file size as a file size is to give like a 2 GB 2 MB, and the file type is a Excel's as a Google sheet, and the spreadsheet any as to so. In the real life example, photos is taken with mobile phones, and contains metadata like as date taken and the times and the cameras models and the location as a GPS. And the benefit is make the data easy to find and help the understand the data and improve the data management. Second is a data's dictionaries. As a data's dictionary is a document that as a explains every fields as a field means as a colon in a data set, and a data's dictionary is tells you what each columns is means, and as a table examples inside the table as gives as a student table, inside the student ID name and age is to give, and the data's dictionary as a source the column names as a data types and the descriptions. In the column names is first is a student ID, so as all the integers values has to give and as a unique student ID, and second is a name, and name like strings in the text data type, and as a student names has to give, and third is age is gives in the integer data types, and as a student age is right, and why is use the data's dictionary as easy to understand the data as the reduce the confusions and is a help new terms members, sorry as a team members. Third is a documentation. A documentation is writing the information that is to explains how the data is the collected and the stores process and as a use, and the documentations is a guide that the explains the everything about the data. And examples companies is to create the document as the explainings as where's the data has come from, and how it is the collected and how it is the cleaned and how it is as analyzed, and this is the documentation. And the benefit is easy the maintenance and the better communications and the faster trainings. And fourth is a naming conventions. A naming conventions are as rules for as giving the clear and the consistent names to files, folders, tables, and as a column. And the naming conventions is means as using the meaningful and as a consistent names, like the example as bed names, and as a file 1.xlsx file, and the data's xlx files, and the abc.xlx file, and the names is do not clearly to describe the files, and as a good names like a student underscore mark underscore 2026 and .xlx files, and the employee underscore salary underscore July .xlx files, and the sales underscore report underscore August .xlx files, and this the names is clearly described the content, and the benefit is easy to identify the files and the better organizations and save the time. And the fifth is a file organization. File organizations means as a arranging the files and the folder in as a proper structure, and keep the files in as a correct the folders so they are as easy to find. And the examples like project inside as a datas inside as a student datas and the sales datas as to so, and as a one another child is as a as a report inside the report underscore July's dot pdf files, and another as a image inside as a chart dot png files, and this the structures is marked as the files easy to locate, and the benefit is easy for the searching as a better management and the prevent the file as loss, and they structure to show as a different file in the different folder, like data's inside as a excel file is to store, and the report inside the pdf files, and the image inside the image as the pngs, and jpgs files has to store. Six is a version controls. A version control this a process for as a keeping the track of as a different versions of the files, and the version controls is save the changes, and so you can as return to Ariel's versions if needed. And the example as an instance of saving as a report.xl file, and as save the versions like report underscore v1.xl file, and the report underscore v2.xl file, report underscore v3.xl file, and if there is a mistakes in a versions v3, so you can use as a v2. And the real life examples, and a software development teams is use the version controls to track the changes and made by the different as developers, and the benefit is track the changes and the prevent the data loss and make the teams works as easier. And the seventh is maintaining the record. As maintaining the record means as keeping the data as accurate as update and organized over the times, and regularly update and manage the record so they as remains as correct. And the examples as employee records as before the update as employee IDs, as employee names and the phone numbers has to give, and as Rahul's is change this the phone numbers, so as a update the after update as a phone number has to change, and this the record is update and the maintain, and the benefit is keep the information as the current, and as reduce the errors and improve decisions making. 8. It data's lineage. A data's lineage is so as where the data is come from and how it change, and as where it go, and the data's lines edge as is the journeys of the data from it source to this the final report. In the example as a customer's forms, and after the database is to store, and data is the cleanings after as a data analysis, and last is a dashboard is to show, and this is the flow is called as a data's lineage. And why is the data's lineage is important is show the source of the data and help to find the errors, increase the trust, in a report and as a support the auditings. And the ninth is the documentation best practice, and these are the recommended why to as to create a good documentation. And first is use the clear language and write a simple and easy to understand the explanations. And second is keep the documentations as updated, and whenever the data or the process is changed as update the documentation. And third is use the meaningful files names, as use the student underscore report underscore 2026 dot xlx files, and not a report 1 dot xls files. And fourth is organize the files as properly, as store the file in the clearly names as the names folder. And fifth is add the descriptions like colons, data types as the unit, purpose. And as a six is record is change, as maintain the histories of as important updates like versions 1 is created and the version 2 is added the marks colon, and version 3 is corrected the student IDs. And as seventh is backup the important document, as always the kept and the backup the copies to the of the documentations. And eight is follow the standards naming rules, as use the consistent names for as files folders as columns and the table. Thank you guys to watch the videos. Please subscribe the channel, on the notification and bell icon.